Nicole Bensimon here. I hope you're doing well. I was wanting to talk today about looking at things from a higher perspective. And what does that mean? I guess when you are in a situation, you don't get the full perspective of it because let's say you're on the ground and you're in a chaotic event like a war or a fire or something like that. And when you're actually on the ground level, you only really get to see what's in front of you, what's on the side of you, what's above you, but you don't actually get to see what's going on in the next town or what's going on from other perspectives because you are on the ground level and you can only see so much from that perspective. Then there's the perspective of seeing things from a higher place. And so if you zoom out of the event, let's say it's a fire or a war or something like that. When you zoom out of what's going on, you get to see the bigger picture. You get to see, that there are troops coming in over the mountain, and you get to see that some people are escaping, and you get to see the perspective from such a clearer place because you not only get to see the event that's happening, but you get to see everything that's happening around the event, which helps you to understand more what's going on in that event and where that event is going towards, whether, people are freeing themselves, whether people are dying. You see everything from that higher perspective. And just like in the physical, we can also look at our life from a higher perspective. So we can look at our life from the me perspective. My name's Nicole and I am blah, blah, blah. I'm, what I do and my family and my friends and my circumstances. All of that is just me from the perspective that I see myself on. And usually we go throughout life seeing everything from that perspective, being in that life and being in the situation and circumstances. But there is a way to look at our life from a much higher perspective, just like what I showed you in the physical, that you can zoom out and you can look at all of the cooperative components that have created the story that you're in right now. And so it's very helpful to look at life from a higher perspective because there is a purpose for everything. There is a purpose for everything that happens in our life. And when we're looking at things just from our small perspective, we don't really get to see the bigger picture. We don't get to see the learnings. We don't really get to see the experiences because we're stuck in our little dramatic story within what's happening here in the, in our space that we're in. But I have found that in my life, I have been able to zoom out of my story and my circumstances and see how everything around me is working in a way for things to happen. And I'm able to look at things on a deeper level and go in and really find the learnings and find the golden nuggets in all of the things that are happening in my life. And so this allows us to not get caught up in the drama of what's going on and to look at things from a bigger perspective. So an example of that could be when you're looking at things from the smaller perspective, which is where you're involved in it. You could, for example, be going through, a breakup, a relationship breakup. And when you're looking at it from the smaller you, so I'll compare it to the smaller you and the bigger you, and that way you'll know the difference. From the smaller you perspective, you will be going through the emotions of grief, pain. You would be going through fears, feelings of abandonment perhaps, or, not feeling loved, or all of those feelings that you may feel when you are breaking up with somebody that you love and somebody that you thought was going to be your life partner and your Prince Charming. And it's okay to feel those feelings, because we are here to feel our feelings. But it's not healthy to be stuck in those negative feelings, because you cannot get yourself out of this rut if you've built this rut to stay in. So after you give yourself time to grieve, it's really important to then zoom out from that perspective and have a look at all of the components that are related to that and that are leading you to that. And you can look back at parts of your life, and you can find that if you look at the things that happened in your life and the struggles that you have experienced, when you zoom out to the higher perspective, you will see that there has been a lot of learning and a lot of growth based on the experiences that you've had. And so at the time that you had a breakup, you may be all sad and whatever, but as you look back now, you see the higher perspective that perhaps that relationship needed to end because you were just no longer aligned, and you needed to go through that ending in order to find the partner that you have today, who is just incredible. This can also apply to a job, where at the time you feel like it's the end of the world, but then you look back and you think, oh, I don't think I could do that job anymore anyway, because I'm in a completely different industry that's more aligned to me. And so when you look at things from the perspective of love and growth and what the meaning is for you on a personal level and for the people around you, you start to look at your life less as a victim and more as someone who is constantly learning and constantly growing. And I think that when we start to realize that life is working for us, not against us, we can always see the learning and the growth in every situation that happens in our life. And when we are open to zooming out from the me, little me, and zooming into a higher perspective, a higher, a more encompassed way of seeing things that's not just based on my two eyes and my perspective of me, you can see that a lot of things that have happened in your life have benefited you and have given you the tools and have made you equipped to cope with other things that have happened later on. And so when we have the awareness that we do not have to be the victims of our life circumstances, but rather, if, let's say, you're adopted as a child and you find out, as a teenager that you're adopted and you want to find your real parents or something like that, from the me perspective, you would feel, oh, my parents abandoned me and I'm unloved, I'm unworthy. You would look at it from that little perspective. But then as an adult and later on in life, when you zoom out, you will look at the skills that you have gained from knowing this information and from experiencing being adopted, learning how to trust, learning how to create family that doesn't have to be blood family, but, based on love. And the parents that adopted you may not be your biological parents, but you've learned how to love parents because of, the skills that they have taught you and the love that they have given you. And so you may then go into life working in an orphanage, perhaps. And, the skills that you've learned and the lessons that you've learned from feeling different to everyone in your family may actually be your stepping point towards the career that you're planning on having. And you need those skills in order to have the compassion and have the empathy to look after children who are misplaced or children who don't have, biological families around them. So can you see how the life lessons are connected to our experiences? And when you look at what you needed to go through in order to get where you need to be, you start to look at life very differently, and you start to see things from a higher perspective and understand that everything is for the greater good and everything is purposeful. Because when you look deeper into why things have happened, you will see that there is a purpose for everything that you have been through. And perhaps you needed to go through a very difficult circumstance because, your purpose is to help people to overcome that, because you've overcome that. So I guess I wanted to share with you that it's really important to take out time to really zoom out of your life and look at it from a higher perspective, and be able to really look at the events that you've been through, the events that have happened in your life, and ask yourself to be shown. Ask to be shown what the purpose was of this situation. What were the purposes? What were the learnings? And I guess when you meditate, you really can get into that place where the ego mind steps aside, and you really can connect with yourself, and you really can ask questions and ask to be shown. And sometimes you may be shown things in dreams, or first thing when you wake up, you just get a sudden realization, oh, that's why I needed to lose my mother at a young age. It's because I needed to learn how to mother myself. You'll just get those realizations, and they are so useful and so beneficial in helping you to understand your life's mission and the circumstances that you've been through, so that you're not looking at it from a victim mentality, but rather from, wow, what can I learn from this? So try doing that and see what comes up for you. And if you are feeling blocked and you're feeling like you're not getting that information, when you do a deep relaxation, which is which really helps your body to relax and the ego mind to step aside, so you can really connect with yourself on a soul level, you really can get some really incredible information about the reasons why things have happened to you, and what the learning is, and how that's helping you on your life purpose. And so the work that I do is exactly that. I help people to get into a relaxed state so that they can ask questions and they can receive the answers and the learnings, and then grow from that. So see how you go in meditation. It's very useful to understand why things have happened and what the learnings are, because then you can use them to empower yourself and empower others going through similar situations. So yeah, hope that's helpful, and have a beautiful day.